Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today we are back with another State of the Game recap. This is for State of the Game number 173 on November 4th, 2020, and today Hamish had Trick and Mackenzie on to discuss the upcoming TU12 and what we can expect to see with it. There was a lot of, in my opinion, unexpected stuff today, so we've got a lot of exciting things to go through. I'm going to try and keep it short as far as my own thoughts on things, because I often tend to go far on that, but we'll see how I do. Starting with priority alerts, and these were things that they fixed in the last few days and weeks since there hasn't been a State of the Game lately. They fixed an issue with control point caches not opening after rogue agent fights. They fixed an issue with Summit having inactive elevators, fixed a recalibration issue, and a few other minor issues that they went through too quickly for me to write down. The apparel event is now over for Season 3 as far as earning in-game keys, but they can still be bought with premium credits if you would like to do that. Moving on to the developer interview. The biggest news of the stream, in my opinion, is that the optimization station from Division 1 is returning. I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I think I've said plenty of times that I wasn't a huge fan of it from Division 1. It does, however, indicate a very significant thing that I think I will actually do a separate video on coming in the next few days, so keep your eye out for that, but it's big news. Basically, how it's going to work is there's a new currency in the game that allows you to get incremental upgrades on stats on items by a factor of 10. So basically, let's say you had an item where your crit damage was like 1%. If you wanted to get that all the way up to the maximum of 12, there would be 10 upgrades that you could purchase. Then if you have one that starts out at 8, you would only need, however much that divides by, like 4 upgrades or something like that. However that's going to work, that's basically how it's going to go, and the cost for these upgrades goes up in the amount of resources you need of this new currency, depending on how high the stat already is. You can craft the new currency in bulk if you're currently running low, I assume with other existing current resources like titanium and electronics and ceramics and all of that. Faction-specific currencies do exist for this new system. There's basically specific ones for like ARs, but then they also have ones for like Rikers and cleaners and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of a lot. We're going to have to just kind of see how it goes once the PTS drops, but basically that's how it's going to work, and they did confirm that you cannot optimize mods. Moving on. Summit is getting a lot of big improvements for TU12, surprisingly. They're adding a new Summit challenge kind of tab on the map, which is basically new challenges that are separated by tactical and ascent challenges for short and long-term goals respectively. Basically, each challenge rewards you XP, caches, resources, items, all that kind of stuff. You can only complete each challenge one time per ascent to floor 100, and then it resets afterwards. So let's say there's a tactical challenge for killing, 5 enemies. That's not what it's going to be, just an example. 5 enemies, and then another one for killing 5 enemies while they're bleeding. You can only do each of those one time per that 100 run, and then it resets afterwards. Notable rewards for these new challenges is that there's a new exotic AR they cited as a milestone reward for completing 5 challenges in one summit ascent, so that's exciting. That's going to be another reason to go back into the summit for TU12. Commendations are being added for the summit. There are multiple per category. They're increasing the rewards. When you unlock the checkpoint floors for the summit, so those are floors 3, 6, and 9 for every set of 10, you now get a guaranteed target loot item for whichever target you have selected, so that's nice. The weekly summit project is being decreased in its difficulty. It now only requires you to clear 30 floors of the summit in the span of a week to unlock it, so that's nice because 100 in 1 week was a bit, much to ask for a more casual player. The new Season 4 directive called Rage, I believe, is being added to the Summit directory. Sounds pretty cool. You can read the text on screen there now. There's a new summit objective type. They didn't go into what that is. They reduced the frequency of drone encounters that you're going to experience within the summit, and they slightly increased the chance for rogue agent encounters. Another big change coming is with deployable skills. You can now pick up a deployed turret. It's a feature that a lot of people have been asking for, and so they're finally delivering on that front, which basically it reduces the cooldown by however much you already had it out during its active period. On things like the mortar turret, this is going to be a lot less significant because the cooldown was already so short. Mackenzie was basically saying that with the mortar turret, it's going to dictate the cooldown reduction kind of by the amount of charges you have remaining, so that's something we'll just have to wait and see about. But yeah, that should be pretty exciting, and I think a lot of people who use that skill or want to use that skill will be pleased by that change. You can now toggle masks to always be active outside of the DZ. This is a big thing that people have asked for ever since Division 1. They showed a picture of it. Basically, in your inventory options, you can just choose to have masks always on. So this means not just the cosmetic masks, but the things like the True Patriot mask, the, Sokolov mask, whatever gear piece mask you want on. You can have it so that it's always on even when you're in the light zone. You can see it. You can see its, full glory. And so it's really going to be cool. I think a lot of people will be pleased with that one. Here's another big one that a lot of people are going to enjoy. Inventory space has now been increased from 100 to 150. That's a lot of slots. I know a lot of people were asking for increased stash space with TU11, but it seems like they've delivered on the other front and increased our inventory space. And so this is only going to be beneficial, obviously. And so that means if you have 4 characters, that's an extra 200 slots. So that's really a big deal. There is a new system for gear mod filtering. They showed a quick picture. They didn't fully go into it. I think it's basically just you can set which kind of ones you're going to see first when you open the gear mod, inventory menu. So that should be nice to filter those a bit. There's a new global event that they didn't really go into a whole lot on what it's going to entail, but that's coming obviously with Season 4. The global event reward structure has been reworked. You now gain star currency by completing challenges. So each challenge you complete on those certain day objectives as they are now in global events, those will now give you additional currency beyond just the how to explain it, the timeline of rewards you get, right? So currently, if you complete like one challenge, you're going to get the patch at tier 1, and then it goes up to tier 10 with the backpack trophy. Well, now, on top of that, you get a base amount of currency in the star points, you can call them, from completing those challenges, and you can spend those on a global event reward like page, like a shop basically. Kind of like the vendor from Division 1, how that would work. So you can purchase recalibration caches for a lower price or stuff like named and exotic caches for a higher price in star points. That's pretty cool. It should just give a bit more incentive to engage with those global event systems. And the last pretty big news here is that the Bighorn is getting a buff. It's getting its magazine increased from 30 to 40. So that should be pretty nice. Don't know how viable it's still going to be after that, but at least they're still keeping it in mind. A few other things they mentioned is that the Dusk League activated yesterday for Season 3, so that's ongoing right now. The next day of the game will be 1 week from today on November 11th, covering the new gear and the PTS for TU12. That should be very exciting to go into. And there was, I added this in, there was no news or even a mention of the Codename Nightmare event, which I thought was a little disappointing. I didn't necessarily expect them to, reveal to us what it's going to be. I don't know if I necessarily even want them to before it comes out, but I was hoping they would just mention it, maybe give us a timeline if we can expect it at the start of Season 4 in TU12 or a few weeks in, but we had no mention of it, so we will just have to wait for some further information as far as that is concerned. And that's it, guys. That about does it for our coverage of State of the Game number 173. A lot of exciting stuff today. I mean, I didn't personally expect to get, stuff, a lot of these quality of life community asks like the optimization station, like, commendations for Summit, like the inventory space increase. It's a lot of good stuff that I think a lot of people are going to be happy about. It's not necessarily content, but again, I think this all kind of points to a greater overall picture of where things are headed. And again, I am going to make a separate video in the next day or two about what the optimization station specifically means for the future of the game, because I think it indicates a very certain path we're headed down, but I will get into that there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you can be updated every time I upload. Head down to the comments and let me know your thoughts on all of these pretty big changes. I feel like a lot of people are going to have a pretty positive reaction to all this, aside from not getting a ton of new content except for Codename Nightmare, which we don't have a lot of info on yet, but I'm interested to hear what you guys think about all of this. And yeah, thanks again for watching, everyone. Keep an eye out for that video in the next day or two. Very important one coming. But yeah, have a great day, everyone. And until the next one, guys, RogueGold out.